I told the story earlier of the bull, the bird, and the bullshit. And I'll cover it again right now for those of you who didn't get to see the short on it. So there was a bull in the middle of the field, and a tiny bird landed on his back. And the bull's like, "Hey, what's up? How's it going?" The tiny bird says, "Well, you see that tree far over there? I want to get to the top of that tree. That's where I want to be." So the bull says, "Well, that's a pretty good goal in life, you know. I have an idea of how you can get strong enough to do it." He said, "I'm going to use the bathroom, and you jump down on the ground and eat a little bit of my droppings, and it'll make you stronger, and you'll be able to fly that far." The bird scratches his head. "I don't know about that, but I'll give it a shot. I've tried everything else." So the bull uses the bathroom, and the bird jumps down and eats a little bit of his droppings, and he takes off flying. He makes it about a quarter of the way. Not strong enough. So he flies back to the bull, lands on his back, and he says, "I made it a quarter of the way, just not strong enough yet. We'll keep doing this, and I'll try again tomorrow." So the next day, comes down, lands on the bull's back. The bull uses the bathroom again. The bird hops down, picks up some of the droppings and eats it, gets his belly full, and he tries again. He makes it halfway. Well, he flies back to the bull, and this goes on for the next 2 or 3 days, till the bird's getting stronger and stronger. Finally, one day, he says, "Today's the day." He jumps down, he gets his belly full, feels strong enough, he takes off flying, and sure enough, the bird made it to the top of the tree. The bird is so happy. He's up there celebrating. He's proud of himself. He's tweeting, telling everybody, "I made it, I made it, I made it." He's flexing, spreading his wings. And the farmer sees him in the top of the tree, and he thinks that's the bird that's been getting my crops. So he takes his shotgun, shoots him down, dead. Bird's dead. The moral of the story is, bullshit may get you to the top, but it will not keep you there. And the reason I said this was because a lot of us are walking around believing bullshit and thinking it's going to take us to the top, when in reality, even if it gets you to the top, it's not going to keep you there. You have to start to question things, question where you get your so-called truth. I was in a business lunch the other day, and one of the very important players at this lunch asked me, "What is truth?" And I looked at him and I told him my honest opinion. Truth is relative. Truth is relative to each individual person, because what works for me may not work for you, and what works for you may not work for me. But the point of it is that there is an individual path for each of us. One path may serve you very well for a very long time. That doesn't mean that you discard that entire path altogether. You don't throw the baby out with the bathwater. But your path will continue to evolve. And as it evolves, as you change and as you evolve, your beliefs and your thoughts on that path will also change and evolve. And there's a lot of purists out there who will tell you to stick to this, that, or the other in its very most essential form. And these people, they will live a very good life of submission and discipline. But what they won't experience, unfortunately, is the spiritual growth that comes along from their respective paths. That takes a higher understanding. Now, that doesn't mean that they should walk around and act completely different, so on and so forth. You take your time with this, and you begin to, as you practice your path, see the spiritual benefits of it and why you do these outward acts of ritual and devotion in order to gain submission in your inner self, in your inner life. You can't have any type of spiritual progress without submission in the beginning, without complete submission, devotion to what it is that you're trying to achieve. It's just like going to a job. When you go to a job and you work hard at that job, the benefits and the rewards of that will come to you over time. But you can't continue to give half effort and expect full results. That's not how it works, unfortunately. No spiritual path is the same, and it all works that way as far as gaining insight into a deeper understanding of the respective path that you've chosen. You yourself have to be the judge of when, where, how, and why you believe that you have brought yourself to the next level of understanding so that you can graduate, right? And sometimes this takes a great deal of isolation. You have to isolate in order to elevate. That's just the reality of it. There's nothing wrong with having a good community and working close with other people who are on your same spiritual path. But you have to understand that sometimes those who are chosen to go farther have to discard and get away from those others who may be not necessarily on their level. Everybody's level will change according to their own abilities and according to their own understanding. It doesn't mean you're right and they're wrong, or they're right and you're wrong. It just means that you're in different stages and different levels of the game. But I highly recommend from this point on to stop taking authority as the truth and start taking the truth as the authority. And that truth is relative to each individual one of us across the board, no matter what area we're talking about. We could argue what's the best sport. You say football, I say basketball. You say soccer, I say baseball. Whatever the case is, it goes with foods, it goes with workout routines, it goes with spiritual paths and religious disciplines. All of these things are constantly evolving and fluctuating. But you have to have the presence of mind, and you have to have the honest self-evaluation to see where you're at and see where you want to be. If you want growth, then you have to open the door for growth to happen. You have to plant the seed for growth to happen. Trees don't grow by themselves. They don't just magically grow. They have to be planted. They have to be cultivated. They need the right ingredients. And then you wait. And then you wait. So you have to understand seasons of life in the same aspect. Seasons of life, when you plant something, you don't immediately start harvesting. You have to be patient. You have to cultivate that plant. You have to wait for the waiting period for the plant to do what it does. These are all aspects that you can take away and give to yourself to give yourself a better understanding of who you are and where you are and who you want to be. Till next time.